And good morning, and welcome to No Apologies Please. I'm your host, Gregory Meriweather. Today, man, it's a great day. Got a great guest. I'm excited about this conversation. She's my co-host. Let's say that first and foremost. She's my co-host on Landed on the Line on WHMB 40. We are on every Friday at 8 a.m. She's also the executive director of the Brightwood Community Center. She's a hard-working woman, and she's the former director of crime reduction for the city of Indianapolis. We used to get in a lot of trouble together. And so I'm just excited to have her on, man. It's going to be a great conversation. So make sure you get your coffee, sit down, listen. We're going to listen, learn, and then we're going to share when we're done with this show. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my sister on and say welcome to Shonna Majors. Unmute yourself.
That's right. That's what I was looking for. Hi, good morning.
What's up, Shonna? How are you?
I'm good. I got my coffee.
Yeah, you got your Indiana State University coffee cup. Shout out to Indiana State in the N.A.P finals. So good deal. So what's happening, man? What's been going on? Tell the people who you are first.
Okay, I'll tell them. Shonna Majors. I am the executive director at Brightwood Community Center. I'm Greg, Meriweather's co-host on Laying on the Line, and a lifelong Indianapolis resident. I call myself a little road warrior out there trying to do good in the world. So that's me.
So it's funny. We were just together yesterday filming our show. And I'll tell you, man, Shonna does a phenomenal job of getting some great people on the show. We've got a crazy great lineup for the month of April, and I'm excited for people to see and hear what it is that we do on a regular basis. So tell us about the Brightwood Community Center. What do you got going on? What are you doing over there, and how's Brightwood doing?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of things going on in Brightwood Community Center right now. We are first and foremost seeking a larger facility because we've outgrown our little modest place we're in right now. We were just awarded grant funding to expand our workforce development program. So I'm super excited about that. Being able to hire some career coaches to walk people through making some career choices, helping them. The cool thing is that we will be able to remove the barrier of people going to get a skilled trade because they don't have the money to pay for the tuition. In most trade schools, I don't know, some of them don't. You can't use FAFSA for it, right? Yeah. So we're able to remove that barrier for our people and our young people 18 to 35 and get them into those trades and healthcare, culinary arts, manufacturing, logistics. You're a professional in that area. So that's my happy big news. I'm real super excited about that. Other than that, we've got summer camp coming up. We're looking forward to getting our kiddos in there. I kind of shut things down during June and July for those little ones. We'll be doing summer camp coming up, and it's a surprise to the kids, but we're going to take them to Kentucky Kingdom.
Nice.
Get them out and let them have a little bit of fun at the end of summer because they'll be reading, doing oral book reports, learning from people like you that come in about careers, and they get all in your business. You know how that goes.
Who do you know is famous?
Listen.
How much money do
you
make?
Why you not married? How much money you got? Let me see.
Why you not married? Yeah, kids, man, they asked a whole lot of questions when I was there. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Yeah, they're very inquisitive crew, which I love because they're asking questions and they have somebody that can answer them for them. So thank you for doing that. That we have a lot of people that come through and vet for the kiddos, and they appreciate it.
No doubt. So when I think about just community, one of the things that concerns me with the hood is we're no longer neighbors. When you look in this, in this world and you figure out, even in the community work that we do, it's like we don't necessarily operate from a neighborly perspective. What do you think is causing us to not work together with other organizations? That we all say we know the problem, but it's for some odd reason we're not unifying to really fix these problems. What do you think that's due to? That's
You
a
set me
deep
up
question.
early, first thing, huh? No, I think there's several things, right? And I'm going to speak in a generic perspective until I won't. I think some of it is territorial. You want to be the big dog in your community, saving the world over there, and don't think you need help. Think you've got it going on and don't really need that. But I've kind of seen a few people change that a little bit over the years. But when I was downtown, that was one of my big things: is how do I get all of you to get this grant money together to talk on a monthly basis? I know they thought I was a pain in the butt, but my thought was, if you all are getting funding to do these things, why wouldn't you talk to each other and collaborate on a few things and make things happen? So it's still that old school silo thing going on, but there are people that are getting it and are working together. So I can use Martindale Brightwood as an example. We are currently working on our quality of life plan.
Oh yeah. Martin University.
Yep.
Who else is in that?
It's a lot of stakeholders.
Really?
It's Edna Martin. There's Martindale Brightwood CDC. There's, the One Voice. I'm not gonna name everybody because I'm gonna get somebody gonna get KIPP High School, KIPP school system, Martin University, obviously. Oh gosh.
And so they're working. You all are working on a quality of life initiative.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
So there was a previous quality of life plan that we've looked at and tried to see. We went through thoroughly to see what worked and what didn't get accomplished, and if it's still viable to take that part over, as well as go out in the community and do surveys and ask people what they want, what they think, and educating at the same time about, our environmental, the soil is bad, the water, it's just, we have a lot of challenges over there. So we've kind of pulled people from every part of it, Falagi Hiawat, it's so many, Harrison Center, that are involved. And so we're just trying to do a collective, and I think working on that plan for that area has made us, work better together. I mean, we've always been friendly, but being friendly and actually getting in and doing some things together. So I think it's tightening our knit. That's my experience right now.
Collaboration is something that, in our history, it's interesting because we'd have to collaborate due to segregation. When we were segregated, we had to collaborate. Integration caused us to kind of venture out on our own and make partnerships and get drawn out and separated and all these other things. But I think that now, collaboration is tough, but it's so necessary because the problem is bigger than any one organization. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then having the mentality of a little being a lot is kind of damaging in a sense, because I've always said that they will give an organization $100,000 to change a community, and it wouldn't change a household. Right. It's like you can give $100,000. $100,000 as an individual is some money. $100,000 with a family is probably not as substantial. And so when we look at that, these organizations have to understand that the money is not enough. Our problems are bigger than these small grants that we're getting. Yeah. Another thing I want to touch on is I know that at the community center, you guys do a lot of work that I would deem substantial. Learning, teaching, putting people in front of the kids that they can look to say, you know what, I can aspire to be this. What has fun done to our organizations? Why is the narrative out there that in order for us to not be violent, we have to have fun?
I don't know if that's the
This
right
is
question
interesting
for
that
me.
I'm interviewing you.
Yeah.
So why is fun the narrative? Why is it that we have to have fun? That people believe in order Black people not to hurt each other, they got to be doing something that's fun, as
Right.
opposed to just chilling.
That's my favorite. I chill. We have a lot of kickbacks, quote unquote. That's what the young people call them, at the center, and with a purpose, I say. So if we are going to, fun tends to attract people because, and here's what I mean by that. You can post something that is meaningful and powerful and that will change somebody's mind, spark their brain to do something different, and they won't share that because
Facts.
I don't know why. But if you post a party, everybody shares it, right?
Yep.
So with that thought in mind, I'm speaking for me. I don't know why everybody else does, when they do fun. Some of it's just no apologies, right?
Yeah.
Some of it's just fluff, right? It's just a fluffy way to say you serve some people, and most people, I don't see. Let me say this: I don't see a lot of people partying with purpose, and that is what I think sets us apart from other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for us, is as Black people, when we gather, we like to have some food or some music
It's
playing,
cultural.
or
Absolutely.
it's a cultural thing, right? And so in my mind, I say, well, I want to provide that type of a space so the community can come in and just like chill and eat and talk and meet people they hadn't met before. Like you talked about that first question about people, why we're not doing that is because, well, everybody's learned to want to stay in their lane and it's not my business. Back in our day, our neighbors was nosy.
Yeah, the neighborhood was everybody's business.
Listen, it was everybody's business. And
Yes.
Miss Rose, by the time that was the Wi-Fi. Miss Rose,
No doubt.
your Baba, listen, yeah. So I want to create that wherever I'm at. And that goes from my team down out into the community. Like, we want to be a welcoming place where people can be comfortable to ask for help, because going to these centers can be intimidating. You got to fill out 26 packets of I almost cuss.
My show is cuss friendly.
Well, you got to fill out all this red tape and all this crap, and then you got to go sit with somebody and attend the orientation, and then come back and meet with somebody, and then 3-4 weeks done passed, and your lights done went on out. Everything's real bad now, and it's like, come on.
Yeah,
We gotta do better.
I agree. Because I think that right now, when we look at, just again working together, fun, I always say fun is funds used on nothing, but that's a whole different story. Because it's like it's like when we look at it, it's like we're not, if we take our history, we're not violent people. We defend ourselves, but not necessarily violent. Something has happened to where the self-love is diminished. To where we do act a certain way. But I believe that, I always said it, if a person who will pull the trigger on another person is already dead to themselves, in my opinion. And
do you think that this is the volcano erupting after all the years of the oppression, trauma, and the anger of we were shackled and beaten and all these things, and you don't have the physical shackles and stuff anymore. So do you think that what we're seeing with this generation is like, it just has finally?
I think the plan was for us to eventually be harmful to each other through all the oppression of other people. And I think that we've now come to a place where it's working. The system is working for us to be able to do what they did to us, but do it ourselves. I agree. Yep. Yeah, I agree 100%. So I go ahead. I've got something I want you to think about. So I want you to put on your former director of crime reduction hat for a second. So this is the 94th day of the year. All right. So April 4th. This is the 94th day of the year. So in 94 days, we have 55 homicides. So that's more than half of the day. So pretty much, yeah, we're trending. So every other day, someone gets killed, pretty much. Okay. And then 44 out of the 55 are criminal, 11 out of the 55 are non-criminal. In comparison to last year, we're down 4 homicides. So we can say we're reducing it. When you hear those numbers, when you realize that every other day someone is dying or someone is being killed in Indianapolis, what comes to mind for you when you hear that number or those numbers?
Well, it's disheartening to start. I don't know what's happening, but it's bad still. I don't care if there's been 4 less. The feeling of being unsafe is still here. Watching on the news helps drill that in, and it's sad. I don't know.
Yeah. When I look at that number, and I realize in 94 days, 55 people have perished. So in less than 100 days, half 55. So you take 50 and half of 50, half of 100 is 50.
Yeah.
So it's like, so we're on an upward. It's like, even though it sounds like a downward trend, it's just such an upward trend in a sense, because you're like, man, every other day someone dies in this city, like killed.
What's our non-fatal? What's our non-fatal looking like?
Non-fatals. Let me see here. I know I had it. I got it.
We have had 3 mass shootings just in the month of March.
Yeah. We're at non-fatals. We've got 110 non-fatals.
So we're
94 days. We've had 110 people shot.
So that's double what.
Yeah. So we've had in 100 or 94 days, we've had 110 non-fatal incidents.
Yeah. Well, the legislation let us down with passing this permitless carry. I don't know what they thought that was going to accomplish, especially in the urban cities where violence is already high with guns, and so you're just going to say,
yeah, go ahead. No one. There's no accountability of who has the weapon. And then on the side of law enforcement, then there's the assumption that everyone has a weapon.
Yeah.
And so therefore you get more police action shootings. You get more police action shootings. You get more people that don't deal with conflict resolution simply because they believe that whomever is across from them has a gun. So it's kill or be killed. That's the mentality at this point.
That's it. That's
the mentality at this point. And it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So when you and I were in the city together, you were working through the Office of Public Health and Safety, right?
Yeah.
I was on each side with IMPD, and we kind of collaborated together. We had a situation where on Saturday, you had 7 young people shot downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I think I have a clip. Let's see if I can get this clip up.
Okay.
And then we can listen to this clip really quickly, because I want to hear what the chief had to say. This is coming from let me see. It's WRTV. Let me see here. Let's share this slide, because I want us to hear this. And then we'll talk about what it is that you see.
IMPD says the mass shooting downtown that injured 7 teenagers was a pre-planned event.
Hi, teammates. Cody Fisher updating the search for that gunman.
IMPD tells me that they still haven't arrested any suspects in connection to the shooting that happened here near the corner of Illinois and Maryland, but they tell me that they're working as quickly as possible to find whoever fired shots.
This was a planned event downtown. It wasn't a random type of thing. There was an ongoing beef. They brought that beef downtown, and earlier in that day, we believe that that's when the planning took place.
The mass shooting injured 2 16-year-old males, 1 16-year-old female, 3 14-year-old females, and a 12-year-old male.
What is a 12-year-old doing in downtown Indianapolis after midnight on a weekend, unattended, and unsupervised.
Right now, detectives are combing through a mound of surveillance footage to identify who fired the shots.
We will continue to look at all the video that is available in downtown, which is a lot. Whether we can ascertain exactly who or what from that video is yet to be determined.
Community leader Reverend Charles Harrison says a lack of adult supervision is to blame for the mass shooting.
We have to look at parenting. If parents are not going to be responsible for their children, then maybe we need to look at holding some parents accountable.
IMPD Chief Chris Bailey says they're already exploring those options with the prosecutor's office.
Prosecutor Mears and I have had conversations today, and we're looking at all avenues of the law to see what we can and can't do to hold adults accountable for the actions of their children.
Mayor Hogsett says that his office will announce a plan to prevent future shootings like this downtown later this week.
So when you see this and you realize that that kids.
Hey man, I got PTSD. My hands start sweating.
So when we look at this thing, we talked about this yesterday, where I stated that a parent is a noun and a verb. It's the present of a person, but it's also the action of a person in a realm of taking care of their children. What's happened to parents?
Well, I think we're dealing with kids that had kids, right? And when you think about the growth of a child's mind and development, 16 years old to be a mother or a father is not. I mean, I'm not trying to shame anybody that had their kids young, none of that, but I'm just saying, that maturity of being an adult and living life a little bit and understanding how to provide a stable home for yourself, let alone your kids. I think that I chose not to be a parent because I knew I wanted to party and stuff. So like, I was just being honest with myself. I'm like, why am I going to do this when I know this is what I want to do? Right. Also, we have to remember that kids, when that 12-year-old, I'm guessing, this is my guess, that he was probably hanging out with an older brother or sister, or
I was thinking the same thing,
cousin or something, and mom and dad went out, or whatever, the girls' night out, whatever it was. And I remember being younger, hanging with the older kids out and about, and I know it's not lawful, but it happens. It blows my mind, because these kids, and I work, we work in schools and stuff. They really are cold-hearted about it, right? Yeah. And so they don't think about, let me get this young one home and out the way. If he's rolling with the homies, he's rolling with the homies, So it's a lot of different things. And parents, I think that we've gotten so laxed, and I think a part of the thing is that we didn't want our kids to not have what we didn't have. And so we've provided now and created a space of entitlement and all out full face rebellion from the kids. They cuss their parents out. It's a bunch. So I don't have one answer for that. I just know it's not what it should be, even though I don't want to compare it to how it used to be, because it's different, but it's still not what it should be.
So Jeff Carpenter, so you want to hold parents accountable. It kind of went up. Let's see here.
Yes, Mimi Morris. I'm looking here too. Exactly. We want to be friends instead of parents. And like you said, parenting is a verb as well. And you have to set boundaries and parameters for your kids. You have to follow through with consequences to their actions and teach them responsibility.
So it says you want to hold parents accountable and punish parents who discipline like our parent did us. You can't have it both ways. And so that, you know what? That's a good one right there, Jeff. It's like, if you discipline the child, then they hold you accountable as a parent. But if you don't, then they hold you accountable as a parent. That's a very tough thing. That's a situation that we definitely have to analyze and say, you know what, if the parent if the parent disciplines their child, then it's like you're coming to see them. But if they don't discipline the child, you're coming to see them. You can't have it both ways. I agree with that wholeheartedly, because we just discipline is totally kind of changed in our community. Real talk.
You remember when that changed? Where it was a thing that if you discipline your kids, the CPS and all that's gonna come see you. Do you remember? Was that like the 80s, late
80s, yeah, 80s or something like that. Eric Saunders had a comment. He said the culture of influence is not based in a tangible respect. I agree. Influence right now is, the household and the community influence has changed so drastically. The influence used to come from the community in a different way. It used to come from within the home. And then school was a little different back then as well. You had schools really kind of opened up back in the day. You looked at teachers. Teachers were like people of your community. They weren't implants. Like when I was in school, Miss Barnes, which is Mosey Barnes' mother, Miss Barnes was one of my teachers, but she went to school with my mother. Coach Cannon went to Washington with my mother. So it was a lot of people that I knew prior to even walking in Washington High School, because it was like they were family. So when I look now, you have a lot of people that are not in your community, that are not from your community. They're not in your, they're in your schools, but they're not from your community. And I think that definitely plays a role in the lives of our children.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that you can use that across the board, right? You've got officers that aren't from the community anymore. You've got teachers that aren't from the community. You've got businesses that aren't from the community. You could spread that out. And it's disheartening, because I feel that the people that live in the community that do those positions have a little more invested because it's their community, right?
Yeah. There's a comment, Paula Barnett, it says, when I asked about parents, said they're living with CTSD, PTSS, and working 2 jobs and driving Ubers to pay bills, hopelessness. And that is a real comment right there. Parents are struggling. Like our community, something's happened in our community where the struggle seems just so big now. It's like, I don't know, it's like racism has taken a turn for the worse. Less people are working, less people are having high-paying jobs. Inflation is through the roof. Groceries cost 40% more. Gas is through the roof. And now all of a sudden, just to make it is a big deal. And and then when you add that, to extra mouths and being a parent, it's like a lot of people are working a lot more to make ends meet now, as opposed to back in the day. What's your thought? Because you're in the community center, so you understand. So what are you saying?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. I'm gonna tell you, I've been thinking about driving Uber myself. And I'm laughing about it in a joking way, but that's facts.
Yeah.
And I want to add one more thing to your list that you just brought up, and that is we now have this technology where people can steal your identity or steal your banking information.
Yeah.
This is fresh for me. It just happened this week.
It just happened to you.
And spend this money and then puts you in another financial bind that you wasn't thinking about or prepared for. And I know life happens, but the technology, I think, has played a role in everything we're talking about.
Absolutely, because we just talked about this, remember? Where I said, we didn't have, our parents didn't have to police as much. Because at the end of the day, it's like we didn't have no cell phones and any of that stuff. It was just like, they didn't have to say, they couldn't put all this information. They didn't have to say, who are you looking at? What are you looking at? They didn't have all the technology has transformed parenting in a way that our parents, that not even me as a parent, didn't even understand, because we didn't have it. So no one taught us how to be cyber parents. It's like, there's
no manual on that, right?
There's no cyber grandparents right now. So it's like these kids got something totally different, because all these beefs, a lot of these beefs start through social media.
And it's been over nothing.
Nothing.
It is wild to me. These kids are ready to snap, crackle, and pop over nothing. And nothing. I'm like, I made a post the other day, teach your kids to take no for an answer. Stop being, letting them running around entitled and taking things or bullying somebody into doing stuff. It's wild.
So see this comment right here. We must
Yes.
restructure society and community where the family is together more and not separated by school and home the majority of the time. There's no time for family. 10 to 12 hours for work and only 16 waking hours for most. That is a great comment right there, because when it's all said and done, our time is being diminished. And
time.
yeah,
We're
so
busier and we
we are
multitask.
far busier.
And so what the multitasking means, you're not paying attention to something else, right?
Facts.
And so we have a lot coming at us that we didn't have before. And like I said, that technology is something else, man. It's we go into schools and talk to the kids about the stalking and all that stuff, and that is a tool that we didn't have. I think our generation, I don't know about you, but I was a latchkey kid, and being the oldest, I think we were forced to be responsible, right? You had to be responsible not to lose your key. You had to be responsible not to show it to nobody, let them see you. You had to be responsible.
Tuck down in your shirt. Yeah.
Yep, it on the shoestring. What? Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
And then being home first, and if you have younger siblings, and making sure they get home and straight, and there was a little time before parents got home, so that, to me, I feel like taught us the basic responsibility of you don't want to make your parents mad, you don't want to disappoint them, but you don't want to be locked out of the house either. So
what system has made us fall in love with money? Is it the exposure? Is it what we hear in our music, and everybody on TV now, if they're black, we got to play rich in order to be accepted. Do you think money, what has made our community fall in love with things so much so that, because when I'm looking at these comments and I'm hearing family and time, all those things that used to be so important, but at the same time, it's like Gucci, Fendi, Louis has entered our homes. You got to have the bag, you got chasing the bag, all this stuff that's talking about money. And all of a sudden we just don't even hold life into, people's lives in high regard. We don't hold time in high regard. Family is falling out over money. Friends are falling out over money. Community does not exist because of money. Mm-hmm. What's happening? What do you believe has made us become so enthralled with money that we don't care about people anymore?
So many things. I'll touch on a few. Not having nothing, I think, is a major thing. Growing up on the government system and having a set amount of something, and when you get extra, I feel you want to indulge it. And then I remember JCPenney catalogs. I don't remember knowing about Gucci and Louis and all that stuff back then. So again, that technology has introduced, and then you see your favorite rapper, your favorite basketball player, your favorite movie star dripped out in, this, that, and the third. And I think as a young person, you want that too, or people in general, let's not put age on it. And the inspired, now they have the inspired things that people are turning to make it appear like they have this money. I don't know if it's a status thing, a clout thing, a brag right, they're flossing for some reason, if it's covering a low self-esteem and you think because you have these things that you're accepted now. I think it's a lot.
The accoutrement of exploitation. It's the sickness of the culture that rules. Man, there's some good answers on here.
Yeah.
Social Engineering, Century of the Self is a good documentary to flesh that out. So Century of the Self.
Century of
the Self.
It.
Yeah, I'm putting that on. I'm writing that down. So the Century of the Self. I'm gonna check that out, Paula. Thank you for that one. Century of the Self. And this is what this is about, everybody. This is community at its finest right now. We're getting all these answers. We're getting people who are coming on. We had Lock Life say individuals' morale has changed and society has told us what to value. quote unquote material. And it is something when what you put on matters more than what's in you.
Absolutely. It's wild to me that I think that stuff started. I'm just stretching my brain a little bit back to high school when I transferred over to Pike. And I remember the girl saying, "Oh, it's a fashion show. You have to," because the kids' parents had money. And I'm like,
oh yeah, it's a big have and have not gap in Pike, man.
It was back then for sure.
For sure.
Back in the 90s, something. Yeah, it was. It was, and it started then. And I guess I just didn't realize that it was starting then because we had Cross Color and FUBU and Damage and all these things.
Used, yeah.
Used,
The
yeah.
yeah.
Guess Bugle Boy jeans.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and I worked at Man
Bugle Boy
Alive.
jeans you're wearing?
Yeah. I worked at Man Alive at Lafayette Square Mall back then in the early 90s. And the freshest, you saw the dudes with the bread that was coming in, and you could allegedly say they were dealing drugs or whatever. But they was making money, right?
Allegedly.
And you could tell because they had the money to afford those brands versus what's created a culture of I need to catch up with the Joneses and not be left behind and be, I think Big had a song about he used to stitch the alligator on his shirt. He told him stay in his place. That was that, right? So I think we created a monster.
Yeah, it says from Steve-O, it says we seek comfort from validation from a culture that violates us and fail to realize that it's pricked in itself. We fuel our own degradation. And that is a true statement right there, because when it's all said and done, it's like, I say this all the time jokingly, but I said, man, we so busy trying to squeeze Africa into Europe.
Come on.
It's like we so busy trying to squeeze Africa into freaking Europe. And it's like we don't acknowledge just the grand person itself, the people who we are, and everything that we wear is starting, it's like if it ain't Polo, if it ain't Louis, I mean, it just kind of gets to me now when I look and I see, those tags on our backs. And when you look and it's like, it's something to just wear clothes. But when you start seeing like the monogram and not look and say that that's someone's name, that's a person's name, you see the logo and don't say that's somebody's name. And so all those things that I look at, I'm like, man, we definitely got to do a better job of recognizing that we're bringing wealth to some other people, but while damaging ourselves by believing that validates us. I agree with Steve Owen totally.
Yeah. I remember somebody saying, like, if you back in the day, if you want a nice car, then you have to live in the hoods, like a shitty place.
Yeah.
And if you want a nice place, you gotta drive a shitty car.
Yeah, that's real talk.
So I think that drive for money has just, and then you see it everywhere, and it's in the music. I don't care what nobody say. That stuff has an effect on your mentality. Give yourself a trial, a test, and stop watching Love and Hip Hop for about a month and see if your attitude doesn't change.
Look at this comment right here. We still have community events that promote the same music. And that is a wild thing. You know what? That's a grand comment. It's loaded in itself, because we will literally have a community event and play the music that degrades our people's minds. We have to be more aware. It's like our social awareness has to be heightened. It's
right.
Like our complete awareness has to be heightened now, because those things that we think are so simple are really like not. It's like, dang, we need to, if we're gonna play something, it's almost like we got to find something that's severely conscious. Like severely conscious. So what do you think when we think about just the music in itself? What do you think has to be done in order for You just said something about watching Love and Hip Hop. So cleansing your mind of what you're watching on television.
Yeah.
How do we get some social responsibility in music?
Well, it's going to have to come from people, because the record labels that are making all the bread off of this, they are not going to push social consciousness. Is doing what they wanted to do. And I saw, as an example, a interview with Leor Cohen, and he said that, I think it was on a Breakfast Club or something, and he said, I got bills to pay, I got people to take care of. Because they asked, well, if you know it's wrong, this music is wrong and what it's doing to people, why do you keep promoting it? Why do you keep putting rappers on that promote this? And he said, I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So if the
man who's not from our community,
it's going to have to come from us, because they're not going to do that. And they know how much, and none of their partners are going to go for it either. Because listen, your favorite rapper wearing that Gucci shirt or whatever, that's brand ambassador to, so they know everybody's going to try to go run and get that latest Gucci, whatever.
It's crazy. We just talked about brand ambassadors yesterday, but that's going to be for our show. But it's crazy how we don't own none of that stuff. We just the face of it. And all of a sudden we it's like, how do they lie to us? Like, our own people lie to us, and we believe that they own this stuff that they don't own. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. We honestly thought Puff owned Ciroc.
I did.
And then we look and they said they kicked him out. It's like, people like, I'm going to drink Ciroc because it's black owned. If I'm drinking some alcohol, I'm drinking that because it's black owned. And you find out, no, that's not true. Not true at all.
And so now it makes you, it's weird, because we're really into promoting each other, supporting each other, right? I know I've heard we say these things, support Black business, support. And then when you do, in this case, I'm not saying all people, but this case, you're like, I'm only buying Ciroc. I'm going to tell you, that's what came out of I'm only buying this. And then to find out later that he was just the face of it and getting like less than a percentage of it or whatever.
Yeah.
It was disheartening. So then you have to ask yourself, well, if they can mislead me in this way, what else have I been misled about?
Yeah, absolutely. If they can lie about that, what else are they lying about? Mm-hmm. It's like, for the life of me now thinking about this, Shonna, I don't believe most of our billionaires are billionaires. I just don't. At this stage, I'm like, you on some paper, you on some play, like some fake stuff. Because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Because it looks like, all right, they can just take this from me. I'm confused at this right now.
I'm so befuddled, because I'm like, now how did they get Kanye said he was a billionaire, and then the deal,
and all of a sudden the next day he's not a billionaire. They're like, oh, we're taking your shoes, we're taking all this from you, so therefore but had the influence of our people. So
is it a projected maybe number of what they think they're going?
It's a puppet. It's like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood of make believe. It's crazy.
Oh gosh, yeah,
for real. Make believe, for real. Because it's like, these people are not really billionaires. They're telling them that they're billionaires on future earnings and not today. And we tend to follow the trend, because all they are is puppets that are utilized to get Black people to be on board with helping someone who's not Black get wealthier. And they're like, I'll give you a crumb of it.
Maybe it helps give us a false sense of movement too. Right?
Steve-O said the wealth isn't real; it's all illusion. This is the Hunger Games. That's so real, for real.
They're doing it to give us a false sense of movement for Black people. We think, oh man, we got some billionaires in there, and they came from the struggle like me.
Nah, they done sold their souls.
Come on, man.
So with all that being said, if we as adults, I'm 51, we as adults have been brainwashed by this system. Imagine what it's doing to children.
Yeah.
Who honestly believe a lot this stuff. We believed a lot of this stuff.
We do.
So what do we do now to try to get these people who believe this? We reel them back in and say, this ain't real. This is not real. I guess, we could share the show.
I was going to say, keep having shows and podcasts and have conversations and educating as we go along. But what I find interesting when people do try to educate folks on something so they can do better, they're resistant to it. So I think we're going to have to be patient, but steady chip away at it.
Can we be resistant?
Heck yeah.
I mean, real talk, can we? What happened? I say this all the time. What happened to us saying, no, we're not dealing with that? It was the funniest thing in the world when T.I. said, black people, we about to boycott Gucci. And I'm like, I ain't never owned nothing Gucci in my life. It's like, you about to boycott Gucci.
Yeah, you do that because you can afford it. No.
Yeah. And then you look at, and Gucci says, oh, well, we go get Dapper Dan. And we don't look and say, well, all they're doing is going to get him so he can convince black people that we need to give them our money. He's not for us. He's not an activist. They said activist, a fashion activist, Dapper Dan. Dapper Dan went and got paid. And they said, black, they okay. They okay. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, they're not okay. And I just want to say, how do we get to a point where black people are able to resist Papa John's, when they're able to resist all these labels like Burberry, who had the black face, how Gucci had the black face, and say, we're done? Why can't we figure out how to say, no, I'm done with this?
First thing I'm gonna say is because of that check. That's what I think it is.
A check.
Getting paid, and somebody mentioned it here, and I'm gonna repeat it. People are selling their souls for this money to have all these things. This is everything we just talked about, going full circle to where I don't care if I'm duping people, I'm getting this check. And you can look at it again across the board. You look at it, you see it in politics, you see it in government, you see it everywhere in entertainment, and it's everywhere. And so I understand what you were asking, what you were saying, but I also think that the other perspective is we have to revalue ourselves. I think we've lost the community value, meaning we don't value ourselves as a community, and we don't value the correctors in our community. We don't value the truth sayers in our community. We have created a space where sweet honey and sugar coated wins the day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately. It's like we've gotten away from so many of our principles. Just things that brought value to our community. And it wasn't, it's like, it's crazy how, like you said, the check is talking, but it's crazy how we were better people with less.
With less. Because we didn't know what we was missing, right? And now it's like,
we was poor. It's like, it's real. It's like, we was like, man, this is good living right here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like something transitioned though, Well,
here's another piece to that too. I don't know about you. I'm sure you did too. I saved my allowance to go get my little special stuff I wanted that my parents was like, I'm not buying you no Jordans. Are you serious? I'm not buying that. I'm not paying that kind of money. So I saved my little coin if that's what I really wanted, right? And it helped me appreciate it better when I got it myself. I took care of those shoes much better than the ones my parents had bought me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten away from teaching our kids that you can save for that and go get that, but you do it because you'll appreciate it better than if I just give it to you, then you treat it however you want.
Yeah. Yvette D. Williams, I have said since my 20s, I want to wear my own name on my ass.
Talk that talk.
My name.
Just do it now. Just do it now. Get jeans and just do it now.
Yeah, it is.
Create them. I'm gonna wear some too. Shoot.
You know what I'm saying? To represent yourself, man, is something that's really, really important. Steve-O says, why do we want those brands? Why do we value them? Why aren't we focused on producing instead of consuming? And that's real talk. I believe that we have to be producers. We have to be producers. DeJuan Taylor says, bring back Partners 2000 for these kids. I think these kids need to, honestly, DeJuan, before these kids need to really work for someone, they need to work on themselves. We need to work on our kids because their minds are gone.
Character
they
development.
will, everything is going backwards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we need to do some developmental work so that our kids don't have the same pitfalls that we had. They believe a lot of stuff that's not real. And it's causing them to kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's causing them to steal. It's causing them to do all these, running in these stores, breaking glasses, stealing diamonds.
Fighting.
People don't even realize the diamonds are tremendously worthless, but that's a whole nother segment. But it's like these clothes ain't worthless. It's like it's a name on a piece of clothing that don't cost a lot of money. They just mark it up. And our kids are running in these stores, selling dope, robbing people, killing, simply to wear someone else's brand.
I'm glad you just said that. Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off. I wanted to add this because I see the time is. I know how you do people when time is running out. We just we're planning to do our after school program back in the fall, and we wanted to incorporate something that the kids could use if they learn like a skill or something, right? So we're talking about this clothing thing, and I just made me want to say this. We want the kids to learn how to make their own apparel, whether that's t-shirts, hoodies. I want them, like Miss Yvette said, to wear their name on their clothes if that's what they want. I want them to learn how to design their own thing and believe in themselves, even if it's not about they want to be an entrepreneur and sell these things. That's fine, but be comfortable in representing yourself instead of representing everybody else, because most of these people are way more screwed up than you could ever imagine. We have fallen in love with the facade of people and their representative, and then once you peel back the onion on who they really are, you see and learn something different.
Yeah. Lock life. One of the biggest things is we don't show our kids healthy relationships between Black men and women. I know off current topic, but we have no respect for each other. Listen, not off topic, because I think that's part of the development. I think that's part of diminishing all the things that we go through. It's building healthy relationships between and not just Black men and Black women, Black men and Black men, Black men. And it's like, we just got to get better universally at loving each other, as opposed to this crazy thing that we do. And again, that music that I hear, it's like, I was sitting there, and I'll say this, Shonna, you tell me what you think. I'm watching Tubi. Every time I watch a Tubi movie, it's us killing each other.
Always.
I mean, whether it be in the relationship.
I can't believe you watched Tubi.
It's like the relationship. Somebody got died. It's like everybody's selling dope. Everybody's a stripper. It's like all the stuff that's killing us.
That's killing us.
Tubi is making a killing off us killing. It's wild. I'm like, what is happening here? Every movie got to be somebody in the streets. It's like, that's crazy to me. And the crazy thing is, that's why it's free.
That's why it's free. That's why it's free, because it's the gift that keeps on giving in its own little way, whether it's subliminally or blatantly. It's wild.
Yeah, yeah. Sonia Cook, these kids need old school parenting. Yes, our parents had their issues, but we were disciplined. Most of us were well mannered and respected our elders and those in authority. There was a balance in music and a lot of things we were exposed to. The crazy thing is, when we talk about that, Sonia, is the fact that our music was music of hope back then.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Sonia. She does a great job with her young ladies.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that she's where she's at, and she's doing her part for sure. So shout out.
And I agree. We definitely, but it's like, again, we got to say no. We got to get to a point where we consciously say no. No longer will we support 50 Cent and them doing all the powers and the drug shows. And it's like they made Big Meech a hero.
He come home next year too. Everybody's excited.
Everybody's excited for Big Meech to come home. All righty. But it's like, when you look at this, it's like, they call these people living legends, you know, and all of a sudden it's like our heroes are the drug dealers, as opposed to all these people that they could tell grand stories about that you've never seen in our history on television or in the movie theater. There are tons of Black heroes and legends that we could tell stories about, but we only tell stories now about the streets. And that is by design. No one can tell me it's not.
Facts. No,
and I'm like, we gotta say no. Be like, I'm done with that. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work, but at some point we're gonna have to say no. For real.
You gotta say no.
Yeah, we gotta say no.
Party, you gotta say no.
So tell us what you got going on. What's coming up next?
I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. It's all this coffee I'm drinking over here. You said what do we have coming up next?
Yeah, what you got coming up?
More laying it on the line for sure.
Of course. Absolutely.
That's my joy. I love doing that. Let's see, we got the summer camp coming up. We've got workforce development expanding. We've had a food pantry expansion. I'm praying what's coming up is a new building in the location in Brightwood, so we can continue serving the community. But I'll be honest with you, I don't want to be in somebody's basement. This would be the first time that Brightwood Community Center has its own standalone building in 90 years since its inception. So this is impersonal to me because I really want to see it happen. And I don't know, just keep working and keep trying to educate and doing everything that we've been doing and supporting people like yourself that's out here doing good work. I appreciate this platform, brother, by the way. This has been a great way to start my day. I was feeling a little crunchy, so thank you. And your viewers are amazing. I've been kind of peeping. These listen, they own it, and I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love the people who are following the show. It's definitely gratifying because you get to see that there are people who are consciously thinking about us. They're thinking about ways for us to be better. And that in itself is a win for me because I'm like, we get to really do something out here. People don't realize that having conversations, it's not always a program. It's not always a party. It's like some of the stuff that like, when Tupac said about sparking the mind, it's like we have to have these conversations in order for the minds to be sparked. And so I'm just excited about what it is that we're doing in this community and through this platform, and definitely appreciate the viewers and the people who come on the show to actually, speak unapologetically. So I thank you for that.
I didn't apologize not one time.
Ain't
So when you ready to go to the night version, the adult, nobody's the late nightcap.
Oh, we about to have that. That's about to go down. That's about to go down. They're gonna see it's gonna be rough, rugged, and raw. It's
my goodness. They're gonna be like, get these people off of here.
So Alicia says, great work, Shonna. I've been in Brightwood for 30 years and definitely see the change. Hashtag keep going. So that's
Thank
awesome.
you. I love that. Thank you so much. The one thing, and I'll shut up and go. I know we're at time.
It's all good.
But podcasts don't really have the same rules, right? So
no, they don't.
Being in Brightwood, my dad grew up on 16th and Arsenal. My mom lived over on 35th and Oxford. So it's kind of a full circle coming home for me. Yeah. And when we walk through the neighborhoods, I call it canvassing, but we're really just walking and talking with our neighbors over there. So when they see us walking with the kids and they see us having events, they're coming over now, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's taken me being 2 years of intentionally walking and talking with the neighbors for them they come, and I'm so thankful to be in a place where it's a two-way street of appreciation going on, and that I don't feel like I'm being utilized as a pawn in a game, and I actually have the autonomy to do the right thing by the people that we're serving. And so I hope that the community feels that genuine love and care and concern, because that's what we got going on. And I love every minute of it. So thank you again for having me on the platform. And I hope you have a fantastical day to everyone.
All right. That's been Shonna Majors. Shonna, thank you so much. And of course, you know, I'll be in touch with you. So it's been Shonna Majors. Thank you, man. Have a good one. I'll reach out to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, peace. So man, that's my sister. I mean, we you know, Shonna and I have had ups and downs, knockout, drag out. We've talked, we've argued, but man, all of a sudden it's like it's a testament of us being able to come together and do great work and you know and work together for the greater good of our people. So when it's all said and done, man, that's what it's about. So let's chop it up really quickly and get this verse of the day, which is Romans 12:2. It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." And man, I just want us to get our minds right. When it's all said and done, none of this stuff is possible with messed up minds. None of the greatness that lives in us is possible with messed up minds. So I just urge us to start being more conscious, start thinking about the things we do, what we say, how we treat one another, conflict resolution, recognizing our 12-year-old is out at 12 midnight, recognizing our kids could be putting themselves in danger or be the danger for someone else. So let's get our minds right and start renewing our minds and get what's right in us out and make it happen. It's important that we do it, man. This has been Y'all Brother. Please share the show. If there's any, if you ask how to help, if there's anything you want to do, please share the show. That is so important. These messages have to get out to people so that they can hear this and understand that there's some great stuff going on in us, for us, by us, and through us. So let's share that. And again, we have our Cash App at No Apologies Please, so that we can build this format and build this platform so we can take this and create this network that we're trying to do. So, man, I just love everybody on here. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure sharing with you all today. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to have Kurt Moore from Straight Up Mentoring, and then we're going to have James Lomax from Like No Other. We're going to talk about mentoring tomorrow. So, man, it should be a fabulous show. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Have a great one. Peace.